this note. Gets me every time. Welcome back to the channel, folks. I hope you're all doing well. Today we're going to be looking at this Chibson Matthias Yobs, or Matthias Jabs for us American folks that don't pronounce foreign names correctly. This is a Chibson. This is not a real Gibson Explorer. This is a Chibson. So we're going to be taking a look at this. I have done a couple Chibson videos in the past. This one I got, a buddy of mine locally here owns a guitar shop, a small guitar shop, and every once in a while he comes across Chibsons, and he knows that I like them, so I'm thinking about picking this one up. I probably will. It's actually a really cool guitar. It plays really well, and we'll kind of go into it, but that's what we're looking at today. I haven't seen a whole lot of these on YouTube, at least none that I could find. So I thought this would be pretty cool, since again, I haven't really seen one of these in real life anywhere, and on YouTube I haven't seen any either. So we're going to take a look at that. A couple of things. You know, I know my audio quality isn't the best. I know I say this in every video. I'm trying to get better audio equipment. My schedule in my personal life has changed, so it's hard for me to find time to make videos, but I will be getting, now that it's cooling down in my area and I can sit out here more often, I will be getting a better setup as far as sound and things are concerned. So gear wise, as with most of my other videos, I'm using my Helix, my Line 6 Helix down here. I'm using my PA speaker over here is not plugged in yet. It's in the back and I have to set it up. But I am using a Simmons drum amp actually for the Helix to come out. And right in front of me, I do have a crate kind of stage wedge right in front of me here, hopefully to kind of help bring the sound over. So that's what we're working with here. We will take a deep dive into this. I will change angles and kind of get a close-up on this stuff. But yeah, the cool thing about this one, so when I first saw it, and you know, I love the Scorpions, I love Matthias Jabs. Probably one of my favorite bands from the 80s. Just the harmonies and everything that they created in the 80s were just amazing. A couple of things about this particular guitar. So it's, if you look at it, you'll notice that it's actually a little bit smaller than a regular Explorer as far as body wise. That's one of the things right away that you should be able to tell. It's a little bit smaller than a regular Explorer. It's a little bit, you know, pointier than an Explorer, and it actually has 24 frets instead of 22. I saw a video a while back where Matthias talks about this and says that when he, you know, obviously he didn't want to play a V because Rudolph was already playing a V, Michael Schenker before him was playing a V, so he didn't want to play a V, and he said they're not really comfortable to play. He didn't like really playing them. They're very hard to play when you're sitting down in the studio. So he always liked the shape of the Explorer, so he went with one of those. But, you know, as many of us who are not 6'4", you know, he said he's a smaller guy. I'm only 5'9". I don't really know how tall he is. I didn't look it up, but I could totally relate to what he's saying. Same thing with Angus Young. He said he was Matthias said he was a smaller guy, so he asked Gibson somewhere, I think in the late 80s, if they could make an Explorer that he normally plays, but the body a little bit smaller and get that 24 frets instead of 22. Because a lot of their songs, you know, he uses the A minor pentatonic a lot, and when you're playing like a Les Paul or a Explorer type that only has 22 frets, I mean, you really got to get up there. With this, you know, it kind of ends right here, so it's very, you still got a little bit more room up here, so you can really nicely get your hand up in here. So we'll play a couple riffs later on, but right now we'll take it over to the workbench and I'll kind of show you what we're dealing with here. Okay, we are back and I have this thing on the bench here to take a look at. I do have the back plates and everything off, as you can see here, but now just a precursor, again, I did not purchase this guitar, you know, I don't know where it came from. I don't know if it came from AliExpress or eBay or DHgate or any of those places, so I don't have any background knowledge of this guitar. So, you know, that's kind of what I'm working with here. I'm just going off what I see. I mean, surprisingly, the paint job is actually pretty good. Now, these appear to be painted on. They're not. I don't believe they're stickers, just based off of. I don't know if you're going to be able to see. There's some like smudges and things over here, which typically get created with like a paintbrush. Not necessarily. It's going to be hard to see, but there's like a kind of a faint line here. You know, right here you can see there's some black right there, kind of, where is it? Right here. You can kind of see, you know, some black over there. Let me see if I can zoom in on it here. See right there, you can kind of see some mist stuff here. So that leads me to believe it is painted on. They did a pretty good job for the most part. Again, far away you wouldn't, you know, you can't tell. I can feel the lines here, so they didn't put a lot of clear coat on this because it's not a hard edge or anything like that. But if you run your finger across it, you know, you definitely can feel the lines here on this. So I just don't think they clear coated it a lot. So we do have, as with many Chibsons, we do have the Floyd Rose Special. Yes, I know the folks in the comments, Floyd Rose Specials suck. They're not real Floyd Roses. Surprisingly, this one, again, I've had this for about a week. Surprisingly, this one does stay in tune pretty well, actually, even after doing, you know, dive bombs, Van Halen style. So I was kind of impressed with that. One thing I noticed, I mean, these strings on here are super old. You can just tell. So any tuning stability while not using the Floyd Rose, I mean, again, you know, sometimes when you leave a guitar sit for a while, the strings go out of tune. A really, really nice, you know, I have a couple of really good Charvel guitars that have real Floyd Roses on there. And yes, I can leave those sitting for weeks and come out, plug them in, and they're perfectly in tune. So there absolutely is something to say about a real Floyd Rose. But, you know, in this case, it is what it is. It's a China guitar. So I kind of have to understand it for what it is. The interesting thing is, as I'm looking at it through the camera, this guitar is actually way more yellow than it's showing in the camera. And that's probably due to, you know, the light above me or whatever. But it's actually, it's got a real nice little ivory, I would say, tint to it, you know, yellowish. It's not picking up on here for whatever reason, but it definitely has a more yellowish tint on it. So as I said, we have 24 frets. They didn't mark, they stopped at 19, which I'm not sure why they did that. You know, 12, 15, 17. Oh, I'm sorry, they stopped at 21. They didn't put any more dots on there. I've never seen, you know, a real one, so I don't know, you know, if that's on there or not. But it does have kind of this, you know, nice binding across it. Little issues up here with the locking nut. You can see there's some kind of, let me see if I can zoom in on that. Yeah, you can see there's a little bit of, you know, issues paint wise. It's kind of a little chunky right at the top there. But again, we have to remember what this is. The locking nuts, I would say on a scale of 1 to 10 is probably about a 7. In order to tune this guitar, you actually have to, most Floyd Roses that I've worked with, or locking nuts rather, all you have to do is just, you know, barely turn it to unlock it, and you can get it in tune. You know, you can mess with the tuners up here, but this one, you actually have to unscrew it quite a bit in order to mess with the strings. The tuning machines, you know, they're cheap, China made, but they actually work pretty well. No really any issues gear wise as far as turning it, anything like that. So it definitely, they work. I mean, for now they're fine. This fretboard is extremely dry. I mean, you can kind of see right here, you know, especially up here, you can kind of see it. You know, nice inlays. I mean, again, they're not, they actually did a pretty decent job as far as putting them in. I'm not sure what that is, if that's like a mark, dirt or something. Yeah. But you can tell this fretboard is extremely dry. I haven't done anything to it. I've, again, just been playing it all week just to see if I like it. The frets are very dull and gritty. Probably what I will do if I do end up keeping this, which hopefully I will, obviously put new strings on it, but I'll give the fretboard a nice clean, put some oil on it, and then usually I like to polish the frets with either some steel wool or a Dremel tool or something like that. It makes a huge difference, especially when bending strings. You can totally tell when the frets are like gritty and dirty. So that's this side. Again, it's standard. I mean, we got the input jack here. We got the strap button there. Obviously, one pickup, volume knob, so there is no tone, no toggle switch, anything like that. You can see here, I mean, the line, paint wise, you can see there's a little, it's not perfectly straight, kind of down towards the bottom, and as you go up, it gets better, obviously, at the top. This side doesn't really have those weird, paint issues. The blue, obviously this blue, of course, that you see is just reflecting from this little stand here. So you got your, you got your Gibson logo here. This one I actually cannot feel. So this one is pretty good under the clear coat. I cannot feel it as much, as those lines there. I haven't taken off the truss rod cover to see what's on there or under there. Again, it doesn't really matter to me. I would, probably bet money there is no acorn nut there. I have yet, I know people say they exist. I have yet to see a fake Gibson with an acorn nut. I know they're out there. I just haven't seen one in person. But again, you can kind of see there's some, a few paint flaws. There's some dips and some waves right here. Again, this is all nitpicky stuff. Up close, if you're playing this on stage, or anybody from 10 feet away is never going to see any of this stuff. So let's go ahead and flip it over and see what we got going on back here. Okay, so again, stripes, right? Let's see where you can kind of, this, because it's not perfectly straight, that's what leads me to believe also that it's paint. And again, just some of the flaking and the blemishes, like right there. Let me see if I can zoom in on it. Right here. Where is it? Right here. Right about here. See that? So again, that's usually a sign of painting, not necessarily a sticker. So again, which is cool. Again, from far away, it is what it is. It looks pretty good. This right here, here's, we've got your typical claw thing. Now, again, I know there's been lots and lots of debates on YouTube about this, but, these springs, I'm not sure why people, set them up that way. They should be straight. Just, again, I'm not even going to go into it, but if you really look at it, like this spring, is not really, these are now longer because you moved them over, and anyway. But that's something I'll change. Just probably got a cheap, Chinese pot in here. Let me see if I can zoom in on that. Don't really know anything about it, just cheap wiring, cheap pot, soldering and all that stuff. So again, that's, what you should expect when you're getting a Chibson. Doesn't look like whoever owned this before, does not look like, they upgraded it or anything like that. It's probably whatever came with it. This is probably what it is. We also have this nice painted neck here. Now, surprisingly, I'm not a huge fan of painted necks. A lot of my guitars have either a maple fretboard and maple back, and I don't like paint a whole lot. My real Gibson Les Paul, my black one, does have a painted back. That one does get very sticky, so I put a lot of wax on the back of it just to, it's a couple $1,000 guitar, so I'm not going to take steel wool and scratch the paint. I'm just not doing that. I don't mind, once a week throwing a coat of car wax on it. It's fine, and it works really, really well. But this one, surprisingly, I'm guessing this is a poly finish. It's actually really smooth. All week that I've been playing it, I haven't had any issues, any stickiness or anything like that. That's just dirt right here. So Very nice. Again, it's a very nicely painted guitar. There's no runs or lines or bumps in it. You can even see here the tuners. This one looks a little tweakish. We can see our serial number here. I don't know what that. I've never typed that in. I don't know what it is, but you can still see whoever owned it. They never even took the plastic off. This one probably fell off or something like that, but they never took the plastic off of the back of the tuner. So, typical banana, hockey stick, whatever you want to call it, headstock. It fits the part. It really does. I mean, from far away, you would never know. And I wish I had a real Explorer here to, compare it size-wise. I just don't have one, but my buddies had an Explorer. I've played them in Guitar Center and some other places, and this one definitely is, smaller. I would say it's probably, if I was guessing, maybe like 3/4 or slightly more the size of a real Explorer, but it's very comfortable to play when you're sitting down. So now I'll just move it back over to the amp and stuff. Oh, what is that? Okay, it's just a piece of dust. So we'll move it back over to the amp and stuff and get some sounds. Okay, so maybe a little sound test kind of thing here. I never really understood maybe the point of the sound test on Chibsons, just simply because, 90% of the time, 95% of the time, most people who buy these are like planning on upgrading stuff. I mean, I guess, playability wise, that's a good test, but sound wise, like everybody has different gear, everybody we all have our different stuff. One thing I can say is that this pickup, I don't know what it is. Again, I don't know what the person before me did, what they put in here, if this came with it or not, but this is an extremely high output pickup. I mean, it's very hot. I have a clean setting on my Helix, and normally with other guitars I click on it, right, and it just kind of goes to clean, but this one I have to turn the volume down really low in order to get any kind of something that resembles a clean tone. So it's kind of tough. I mean, it's great for kind of heavy metal style. It does harmonics extremely well. Again, it sounds great. Really good harmonics on this thing. Obviously there's no neck pickup, and I believe when I played the intro solo to Wind of Change, I believe Matthias used a neck pickup for that solo. And obviously I don't have one of those. But so overall, I mean, again, playability wise, there's no, and I'm pretty sure the person that had this before me, probably didn't do anything to it neck wise, fretboard wise. Again, like I said, the frets are very dull. They're gritty when you try to bend strings. It's very gritty. I can feel it, under my fingers when I bend. You can kind of feel the metal on metal, if you know what I mean. That feeling when you're pushing, or steel on steel or whatever, when you're pushing a string against a fret, and it's just, I don't know, it's just got that feeling. But playability wise, again, it's no issues, no, even all the way up here. And again, I'm not really playing anything, I'm just kind of testing it. So again, no issues sound-wise. Let's see. So I have no complaints about this pickup. In fact, I'll probably leave it in. Again, it's got really, really good harmonics, and there's not a whole lot of, you know, Scorpions stuff that you need a neck pickup on, or that you need a, you know, that you need a clean tone. There's a few, but for the most part, it's, you know, it's pretty saturated, pretty distorted. So this guitar does, you know, pretty well with that. Just feel that grittiness. Hands aren't really warmed up yet, but you get the general idea. So that's it. Again, awesome guitar. You know, one thing I will add is that, you know, I know a lot of people who make these videos on like Chibsons and stuff. You know, they're like, it's a great wall hanger, you know, it's a good piece of art, and that may be true. I don't buy guitars for, you know, wall hangers. Like, that's just me. I don't buy guitars for decoration. Like, I buy guitars to actually play them and, you know, mess with them and have fun with it. So I don't buy guitars just to like hang them on the wall. I mean, that's, you know, where they end up when I'm not playing it. But, you know, I try to cycle through all the guitars I have, you know, probably every month. I try to play different ones because they all feel different. They're like shoes. You know, they all feel different. They play different. They sound different. So I don't buy Chibsons just to like have them just hanging on the wall. I guess I just don't have that kind of coin to be doing that kind of stuff, to just buy them in, you know, in bulk. I know there's a couple channels where people have a lot of them. I think right now, if I do get this one, I think I will own 3, I want to say. The blue one I made a video on before. I have another Chibson actual Les Paul, 2 Chibson Les Pauls, and then this one. So actually that would be 4. So I would have 4 Chibsons. And again, I think I bought one of them. Most of them I get through trade. I trade in other stuff, gear, you know, cheap guitars, just to switch back and forth. So I'm not, you know, purchasing these on like eBay or anything. The only Chibson I've ever actually bought through eBay, I don't even have anymore, because it came in and it was, you know, jacked up. The frets were all messed up, and it would have taken a lot of work to get that thing playing. And it, you know, it wasn't like a Slash model or anything. It was just a standard, you know, Lemon Burst or Honey Burst Les Paul. So that's my video. If you have any questions, comments, please do leave them below. You know, tell me if anybody else has one of these. Let me know. And, you know, what do you think of this after seeing it up close? You know, I'd say on a scale 10. I'm comparing it to, you know, the 10 is a Chibson 10, not a Gibson. I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, Chibson wise, you know, 10 being like, wow, this came in and it's absolutely amazing, to 1 being like, this is total garbage. I would say this is probably about a 7 or 8. I mean, it is really, you know, it is really good. There's not a whole lot wrong with it. Nothing that nothing that a little bit of elbow grease can't fix. You know, fretboard, polish the frets, get new strings, and maybe mess with this Floyd Rose. But other than that, you know, it's pretty good. I have no complaints. So I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you in the next one.